GM Farcaster, and welcome to the FarCon recap show, FarCon 2024 recap show. And we're really excited to be here we have Mick Bain, Matthew Dilsdeck, and Erica, aka Heavyweight, joining us today. McBain's got like birds chirping in the background. I mean, like he's all chill. But, you know, I see a couple of you are walking wounded. It's kind of funny. Everybody's like a little banged up. I got some bruises like randomly. So, you know, my nails are a mess, all those kinds of things. But just kind of before we jump into what we're going to try to do is kind of talk about each of the pieces of FarCon and just do a quick recap of what happened and any highlights and things like that. Then sort of some overall impressions, and then we'll talk about sort of, you know, the current discussion happening on Warpcast regarding FarCon 2025. But just really quick, how are all of you today? Are you recovered yet? Are you still sleepy? How's everyone doing? Feelings check-in.
I'm literally coming off a red-eye flight from LA right now, so I'm feeling great.
Why do you do this to yourself?
Oh my God. I know. My God.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm feeling exhausted still, so I'm going to need at least a couple more days, and I have to get on a flight tomorrow. So there you go. It's not happening. Like, I'm not getting caught up for another week. Right before this show, I'm like, I need a nap, but nope. We go. Okay, so let's start with, we all get there. It's Wednesday. I got there Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, and the welcome party is getting rolling. Before that, Adrian and I hosted a little GM Farcaster happy hour on the roof of the Hotel Irwin. That was amazing. I think Matthew was the only one who was able to make that one because you all were getting ready for the Sunset Welcome. So talk a little bit about that, and maybe I don't know who wants to sort of kick that off. I know Erica and Matthew, you were running around, and I think you all were running around in the backgrounds. So whoever wants to grab that and just kind of go over like what happened, what we did, how it went. Who wants to roll? Who wants to start?
Erica, you were there first. You let me and Matt in, so you know more about that party than we do.
There we go. All right. So Erica, take this one. Tell us about the welcome event.
For sure. Wednesday night was more of my point event night, as it turned out. And I think the fun thing that a lot of people didn't know is very last minute, we didn't really have bartenders. There were some issues with having bartender staffing. And so my dad ended up being one of the bartenders.
That's why. Okay, that makes so much more sense now. I was like, why was your dad bartending?
Yeah, it was because like 4 hours, 5 hours before the event, the bartenders we had originally hired were unavailable. So we had to very last minute hire bartenders. And thankfully, my dad had 10 years of experience in his early 20s as a waiter and bartender. So he was stoked and said he had a great time. And if anyone wants to go see, there's a picture of him with purple noggles on the Builder Down channel.
Yep. Which, by the way, go claim your ETH from that. So make sure he claims his ETH, or you claim it for him. That's so funny. By the way, I was a bartender down in Key West. So just, for reference, should the ever happen again. Yeah, it's been a minute, but that would have been hilarious. So that's amazing. And you know what? I think that's something. So for those who don't know, I was actually a wedding planner for a long time, for about 10 years. And so I've done a ton of events. Things always go wrong. Always. And I shouldn't say wrong, but things always go not as planned. It doesn't matter how much planning you've done ahead of time. Something's going to go wrong and different, and you have to pivot, and you have to be ready to just roll with it. So that's roll with it, number one. And I'm sure there were 100 more things like that happened. But nobody, and this is the other part, and nobody knows. Nobody in the front has any idea of what's happening in the back. Like, all the craziness that happens in the back, most of the time, no one has any idea. So I had no idea that was what was going on. I just remember seeing the picture when my dad was bartending. I'm like, okay, I didn't know why was he bartending? I had no idea. So that's amazing. I thought the event was amazing. The food, everyone seemed to love the food. It was just a great welcome moment. And the badges were really cool too. So Icebreaker, the badges seemed to go over really well from what I could tell. So I do have mine right here. They came in handy when people wanted to connect, or I just had to go here, click this. And didn't have to go about like trying to follow each other and all of that. So that was a super handy feature of this badge. So I will say that. Any other?
I got a question.
No.
I have a question for these guys about the sunset welcome. So this was one of the first ones that had a smaller venue, or maybe the only one, right? So kind of, it was the smaller venue. It was the original before FarCon got bigger. I know there was a lot of confusion around people like, how do I get in? Were you guys getting DMs from people saying, please let me in? How did you handle that? It's like coming from friends. I feel like at a more formal conference, it's just like, boom, this is what you know, don't ask. But was it hard when it's kind of, you're getting these direct pleas from people? What was that like?
We had a very strict policy of favoritism and nepotism in all those sorts of things. So we only let in
and
people
opaque.
That we
was
liked,
it very opaque as well?
Super opaque. Yeah. Just like no egalitarian neutral nature whatsoever. No, I think we all can answer this individually, but what we were up until the event, there's so much pressure, and then the second the event opens, that pressure releases a little bit, and it releases more and more as the event goes on. And so like if it was 7 o'clock, the event started at 7 and you texted to get in, probably nobody got in. If it was 8:30, then you just walked in, right? And that's just how these sorts of things happen. But yeah, I did take a few bribes.
I do think that is the theme, though. Like every single time we've done something, it's like after like 30 minutes or an hour, it's like, yeah, okay, there's actually space. Like, come on by.
Yeah. I think that's the thing too, because you just never know. If everyone who is supposed to be, who RSVP'd shows up, you're at max capacity and there's just nothing you can do. But you really don't know until you get an hour into the event if that's going to be the case. So I think that goes for any event anywhere in crypto. I've seen that over and over again. There's always this attrition, but you really don't have any idea. And honestly, for our happy hour, we had the opposite happen. And like the staff was coming over and getting mad at us and I think because it was early and it was the first thing that was sort of happened, people just started showing up and we're like, oh shit. So yeah, but most of the time you do have that drop off where you are going to have room. So note for those who don't RSVP in time, just come later. Just come later.
But it's the reverse. Sometimes you RSVP, you're confirmed, and then there's a line out the door and you can't get in. So it's
that happens.
I think note to self: never plan events.
Never do this again.
You're talking to the right crowd, Adrian.
who all of us will say we're never doing this again, and then all of us like a week later, okay, let's plan our next event. Which is literally what
10 years
happened. Ago. Yeah. See?
Yeah, it's like getting bangs. You have them, and then freaking hate growing out bangs. And like 2 years later, after the trauma has melted away, you're like, I'm gonna get bangs again.
Most people compare this with childbirth, and Erica goes right for it. It's like bangs. I love the comparison. It's amazing.
I don't have children. I can't liken myself to that experience.
I'm full on bang. I mean, I'm a committed member of the bang club all the time. Love it. Got to wear it. Me and Pauline, wherever you are, we met.
I am going to clip that part out of context just for fun.
Yeah.
Because that could go so many different ways.
Bangs gone. Everybody gets a hat with bangs that stick out, and it's a very niche swag for next year. I love it.
Bowl cut for everybody. Yeah. So, okay, moving on. So now let me go to Thursday, main summit. Things get rolling. How are you guys feeling? How'd everything go? What were some of your favorite parts of Thursday's sort of programming and everything that was going on? And whoever wants to start.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was pretty surprised that not a ton went wrong on Thursday. maybe other people have like behind the scenes stories and etc. But of all the days, I wasn't really hearing like messages being like, oh, like something happened or this or that. You know, maybe there was little like I helped cover the check-in booth when the icebreaker folks wanted a break, which is totally fine. They were doing an excellent job there all day, but I don't think there was any sort of issue. It was cool that there was so much activity in the area. There were people like even outside of the gate trying to peek in, be like, hey, what is this thing, etc.
What's going on?
But,
Yeah.
yeah. But my favorite thing about Thursday, other than all the talks, etc., was just that it made that little like Windward Square of Venice feel like Farcasterville, Farcaster City, whatever you want to call it. You know, everyone was everywhere. And all the other days had similar energy too, but I think Thursday, like really, you could really feel it. So that was awesome for me.
That's funny that you said that. I said that a couple times. We're like, I could live here as long as all of you are here. Like, it was really fun to just, you know, you'd walk over to Minotti's and everyone would be there. Like, there would be people, you know, there. You'd walk down the boardwalk. When I first got there, I ran into Matthew. I'm like, hey, that's Matthew. It's not something, you know, in my normal life, I don't run into anybody. So that was really cool. That was really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still here and I'm not running into Farcaster. So it was a fun
Now
time.
it's sad.
Yeah, maybe if 1/10 of the energy can stay here. But yeah.
That was really fun. How about anybody else want to chime in about Thursday's like event or anything that stood out to you in terms of the talks or anything like that?
I think it was just like a really magical experience. Somebody said that the conference felt like a offsite and not a conference, and I kept hearing that over and over again, and it really does feel like that. There's something really special about Farcaster, and I think the thing that catalyzed that was when Varun asked like how many people are building on Farcaster, and 2/3 of the room held their hand up. That's what struck
And
me.
literally everyone on this panel, like right now.
Yeah. It's when as soon as I joined Farcaster and I noticed that, I was like, okay, this is crazy. I worked in developer marketing for like close to a decade, and developer platforms beg and plead to get developers to work on their platform. Crypto companies give out tons and tons of money. Farcaster has offered none of that. like they're great. You know, they really do. They help their teams, and that wasn't no way I dig in the Farcaster team, but I mean, they haven't had to. I guess is what I mean. And I think that was so evident on that day when we're all sitting there, everyone's building together. It was just the best. So I'll cry if I talk about it more.
I agree. It's like the incubator, but IRL. Yeah, it was there. It was there IRL.
It's like
I
the
loved
no
Harry's.
combinator.
By the way, I loved Harry's questions. I shout out to Kojo, who did fantastic with the Q&As.
Yeah.
Like for real, like great job. And they are available now. You can grab a link that I'll show it. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. To all the Q&A that they pulled together from Ponder. So that I just went a little Boston there for a second. So it was really cool. And Harry had a great question. Good job, Harry. Your son. There was a lot of family. We had Erica's dad and your son and Ted's mom and sister. And it was just like Brian. I got to meet Brian and Grace's mom. And I told them that she did a great job as a mom, at least with, you know, Grace and Brian. Just kidding. Brian's
Dan's parents were there too.
They're both in the chat right now. And Dan's parents were there. It was like really like family time, which was really nice. It was great. It was really great to meet all of those folks and see that kind of vibe that people felt comfortable bringing their family members to this. So that was pretty cool. Anything else from, hey, Adrian, your lightning talk, how'd it go? Loved it, by the way. Your Senius lightning talk. How did you feel as standing up there doing your thing?
I don't know. I thought it went great. Got to chat Senius. I went right before Cassie. And
oh my God, Cassie's was
and her
mind blowing.
I thought it was a nice contrast. Different, different style, different topic. And honestly, there were questions. People asked questions afterwards, and I didn't really expect that.
Yeah.
So it kind of spurred debate, but it was great. And I should probably post my slides.
Yeah. You're all of
one of these
anything
days.
that I filmed live. So anything on the main stage and yours and Cassie's lightning talks are available on the GM Faster YouTube under the live section. And there is a playlist as well. So they're not great audio, like not the best quality, but you'll get the gist. And Cassie's was mind blowing. I loved it. I did not follow half of it flat out.
The venue was, by the way, the venue was
great.
so good. And this is my background, if you see, but like, it didn't feel like a conference. It didn't, it's like, obviously the main stage was freaking outside underneath like the blazing sun. And then all the little lightning rooms, like they were kind of hangouts. I saw it the day before, there was no stage. So I was a little disappointed I had to like stand on a stage because I felt a little like performative, but it just kind of felt super low key, unconference like.
Yeah, I thought it was really, it's a great job with the setup for whoever. I'm assuming you all and Ted, figured out that setup, and it was
A lot
it
of
great.
it was also Slow Rodeo. Ryan from Slow Rodeo
cool.
did an amazing job with helping us set up the venue and figure out how we wanted things to look and to function and everything. So definitely have to give him a good chunk of credit for helping us figure out how the venue was going to look and be set up. Yeah.
And there was a lot of switching the vibe, where you had to move things around. And that seemed to happen pretty easily, pretty quickly. I know that Ted's sister was running around and doing a lot of that in the background, or making sure things got set up the way they needed to. So there was a switch over after Thursday's sessions into the FAR concert. And switching all that up for more of a chill vibe and downstairs, and then this sort of club vibe upstairs. And I can't remember who closed out the night. Who was that, by the way? Who was the last one to leave? I don't know who that was. It definitely wasn't me. I was out like much earlier.
10 p.m. is their limit all the time.
Yeah, I was gone by 11 or midnight or something, but somebody was there until like 2 a.m.
Yeah, little known fact. Give me a DJ set and then I don't go home.
There you go.
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought? Not me. Not me. Not the
if my bestie Jack wasn't
Gen Xer
if my bestie Jack wasn't last, I could have snuck out, but I had to stay for his set.
So funny. So that was amazing. I loved the vibe. I think it went great. A lot of fun. Really quick, the swag was incredible. There was some amazing swag. Yeah, I'm wearing the same thing.
Wearing swag. Oh.
Yeah, everybody's wearing swag and my hat. But the swag was pretty impressive, and I loved the setup downstairs. I think there was, you got to experience a couple different crypto commerce things, which I think is really special. That we had, God, why am I blanking, Erica? Help me right now. Help me.
Slice.
We had
Slice and whoops.
Yeah.
And
wallet, Coinbase wallet. What?
We had 3 different commerce solutions that everyone experienced at FarCon. We had Slice, which was the base cafe and the base merch store. And then we also had Coinbase Commerce, which were a couple of the merchants on the right-hand side. And then we also had a couple of unofficial customers, which, by the way, Unofficial is the company that I'm building with Christopher. And that was powered through Coinbase Commerce, but we allow for different functionalities on top of it. So we had 3 unique different solutions for commerce and merchants within FarCon, which was great. It was the community got to display, what we're all building.
That's what I thought was really special, is that you're not only just buying swag, but you're buying swag with things that the builders are building within Farcaster. And I think that's, something you don't see at other, regular old conferences. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then on Saturday we had Seed Club had a really cool thing where they were doing these custom shirts where you could actually customize it on site, which I thought was really neat. So moving on from there, Friday, we won't spend too much time on this, on us, because I want to get to the hackathon. But behind me, you see how we started Friday morning with GM Farcaster, episode 100. That was amazing with Dan and Varun. And I finally got my answer to what the heck is a techno watermelon. So that was good. And also, I think it's really amazing to see what people took from that. And what people took from that is Dan doesn't eat fruit, and neither do I. So they want to know why I didn't give a follow-up question, because neither do I. So that's why no follow-up needed. But that was the thing that I kept seeing discussed. I'm like, really? Really? We talked about a lot more, but okay.
Do you guys eat fruit? Everyone here, adults here, adults in the room. Graham, I know you've got a kid, so you're probably eating off the leftovers. Dill,
there were people
Matthew,
like going to go buy me a blueberry. It was insane. They're like, we're going right now to Erewhon or whatever that place is to buy you a very expensive blueberry and see if you get me to eat it. And I was like, no, don't waste your $1,000 on a blueberry for me, or whatever it costs there. Dylan, let's move along, because right after our interview, we also did an on-chain media sort of roundtable. Both of those are available on YouTube, as well as the audio-only version is available for the first one, and the rest will come out soon. But they had to leave to go to FarHack, so let's jump to that. I want to talk about that, and you had posted a little bit of some photos here. This is amazing. So talk a little bit about FarHack and that experience, and what everybody was, how that worked out in terms of the space that you had and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So I left the summit Thursday at about 3:30 to start setting up for everything. We got really lucky that we got an amazing space in Santa Monica at the Venture Firm Chapter 1, which, funny enough, I had interned at a couple of years back. So it was like a fun full circle moment to be able to work with them again. But yeah, awesome space. Rented furniture there, got a whole setup so that in the middle, all of our different partners could give these lightning talks. And it was great. We had the first day, we had like 200 plus people, standing room only. We had 12 talks planned. I was able to fit like 3 or 4 more in because people were actually that attentive and wanted to watch the talks at first.
Did you record those, Dylan, by chance?
I wish we did. Those would have been.
I wasn't there. I was at my other thing. I'm sorry. I would have grabbed them.
It's okay. It's one of those things where we can't get every detail perfect in the conference. But I thought it was still really cool because I didn't know how many people wanted to stick around for the talks. Like, nothing against the talks whatsoever. They were awesome, but it's just a lot of talks, like 15 and 2-3 hours, whatever. But people were super attentive, and people made like full functioning clients, apps, frames. Someone made a cast action, the top prize. You can like generate a meme inside of the cast action and then share it in the cast without leaving Warpcast. A bunch of really cool stuff. And my favorite part of the whole experience, other than just like helping folks, were the presentations on Sunday, because I think a lot of the hackers were like, oh, this was such a cool way to uplift developers, and everyone outside of the community wanted to see what the developers were building. So that to me was awesome, seeing how full circle of a moment that was at the end.
And that I did capture. So that I will be dropping soon. More soon stuff. I'm trying, really. I am. It's a lot. It's a lot of content to process. But that I didn't stream, but I did record it. So I will get that out shortly. And it was awesome. And I loved that there was a lot of talk of like, nobody wants to show up for the hackathon presentations. Nobody's going to be, and there was, I don't know, a couple hundred people in the room, just hanging around. Like, I couldn't wait to see what they built. I thought it was awesome. I was really excited to see, because I think it's different, because first of all, you have a lot of builders, which we've established, but also these are things we're going to use. So of course we want to see what you built. Right. So yeah, it was really cool. Did you have any other favorites that you want to highlight? And that can be from anybody.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think Cast Overflow, also one of the winners. That was a really cool one. I forget the name of the team, but there was one team in the back, and they were building an entire SDK login portal, basically for like Web3 gaming. And they even published a package and multiple starter apps. And I think they had won one of the prizes, but they were one of the teams in particular that worked extremely hard and fully met and self-organized on the first day. And they were like, oh, well, now we're friends and are going to keep working on stuff together. And I was like, if at least one of those stories can continue afterwards, that would be the biggest success of this event for me.
I love that. That's amazing. Erica, I know you're going to have to dip. So before you do and then I want to come back to the hackathon really quick, but any other last notes, thoughts, takeaways that you want to share?
I think the main thing is I enjoyed FarCon, and all of the 6 months of planning and everything was so worth it because I got to see so many people just meet each other in person. And the energy that we felt as organizers, I'm sure was exactly the same as the energy that the attendees felt, which was just like extreme peace and content and happiness at just seeing people come together. And I think what I said at the beginning of the summit day still 150% holds true today, which is what made this really special is the community-oriented and collaborative environment that we created it within. And whatever we can do as individuals, as groups, as people with followings or influence to maintain that energy. Yeah, I just want to sit in the sun of this beautiful energy as long as possible. And I know, as spaces grow and everything, that's harder and harder to maintain. But if all of us just try, 1% every single day, then I think it is achievable to extend this period of collaboration and really, really orienting ourselves towards community generated content. So I'll end on that and say thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you for popping in. I know you have a busy schedule getting back home. So we will see you. We'll see you around in Farcaster. But we're going to continue. We have a few more things to chat about. But bye, Erica.
Bye.
So Dylan, just back to that. There was a few things that I saw that were just really cool. Like I loved the billboard thing. For me, as who's creating content and bringing in sponsors and things like that, I was like, whoa, okay, there's so many things I could do with this. Like that one was really cool to me, but every single one of them was great. Was there anything that didn't make it in the top 10 that you were like, wow, or maybe it wasn't quite ready, but is going in a direction that you thought was neat that you want to point out?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think, like one of those I was talking about with those guys in the back, I would have loved to see it just for their effort. Zach Terrell and Greg rebuilt Farcaster Network V2. Would have been cool to see them demo as well. I know they had been working on that for quite a while. They were grinding, and like we had 2 venues for the hackathon. They went to like the quieter one and were kind of just there heads down the entire time. But they did a really cool launch with their thing. Osprey and Euler Lagrange. Yeah. Basically, I forget like the easiest way to explain it. But it's like attesting to your Web 2 finances or your Web 2 bag kind of. But they had an entire like Apple test flight out, which I don't think anyone had. Wow. So that alone was super cool that they had that in a span of a weekend. Yeah, someone had a supercomputer there for people to use, like a 50 gigabyte memory computer. People really went out. I think even like Saturday, the last official night of the hackathon, there were still 20 to 30 people there when we shut off at 10 p.m. And I felt like so bad having to let everyone go. But the worst part to me was that everyone kept asking me, like, where can we keep hacking? And they were like, like, we're going to this pub. Like, can you come and I need to ask you a question? Or, like, where there's like free Wi-Fi. And I wanted to just like invite everyone to my place or whatever. But yeah, no, I think that was cool that people wanted to keep.
That's really cool. So you needed like a 24-hour space for next year. That's crazy. That's wild.
We were contemplating it, but where the venue is, there's like a security issue, which I understand as well. So,
but also, it's probably not the best habits to encourage. People need breaks. People need breaks.
Definitely. Yeah.
For your own brain.
Builder lifestyle.
Do you love the photos that you, and I'll shoot this to you, Adrian, in a sec. I just wanted to point this out, this frame that has different pictures in it. And you can go check this out. This was in the FarCon channel, but I thought this was really cool. You can check out all these different pics. And so thank you for sharing that, Dylan. And go ahead, Adrian.
I just had a question, and I don't know if it's too soon to ask, but what are your thoughts on keeping FarHack coinciding with FarCon? Are there benefits to keeping them together versus kind of having separate hackathons in the future?
So I'll make two public comments on this. I think the first thing I'll say is there is 1,000% going to be a future of FarHack. What that looks like, I don't fully know yet. I've had some time to think about it. There's still some more time to think through stuff. But I think like there's something really powerful around this idea. I think to the second point, there is something really powerful around doing them around IRL conferences as well. I want to stay somewhat aback from that because I think like from this year, the FarCon organizers, we want to take a step back and let everyone know that like FarCon is and will be a community driven thing. And I'm as Graham said,
good timing.
Yeah, I'm sure that we would love to selfishly help, etc., things of that nature. But the goal isn't for us to be organizers just to say that we're organizers multiple years. And that shouldn't be the goal for anyone. Like, oh, we're running it in this city because it needs to be in this city. It should really be about what the community wants and what's best for them. So as that takes shape, I think having hackathons around that as well would be cool because nothing is like that in-person energy. But I think other than all of that, there are some really interesting angles that a Farcaster native hacking experience can bring. And the one kind of like note I'll give there is this was one of the most, in my eyes, Farcaster native events that we did at the conference. Matt built out fully Farcaster native hackathon platform. Hackers voted in person in a frame that Horsefax made. We had the tickets from Unlock and Icebreaker. So there really wasn't a touch of the Web 2 stack that we had to go over. And I think there is something to be said about kind of building around that Farcaster stack, it being unique, but us also being able to then do really cool stuff on top of it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I loved that. I loved the live voting frame. That was really cool that we just, that popped up, and that was exciting to be able to participate in. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And I know we're moving in.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say,
Nope.
it was one of my coolest frame experiences, voting in that frame.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I was like, ooh, I need this for something. Immediately afterwards, I'm like, hey, can I build something else on this? This is really cool.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. So, Dylan, when you talk about FarHack will continue, doesn't necessarily need to be organized by the same people, maybe. And obviously the same thing with FarCon. But can we all agree, Matthew, in events, you're stuck with us? Like you can't go anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. Like, I mean, pivoting the company to mostly be a FarCon company for 2 months, but it's amazing. I mean, it's awesome. Like, that's what I love.
Like, if you try to say another events platform is going to take over, we just won't let you. So,
yeah,
sorry.
No,
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I think
it was
events-
great. And it was really, what was awesome too, is to be able to go to the event site and click FarCon button and everything would be there, or click my events and everything would be there. And that was awesome. And I loved that. So thank you for that. You made it so easy. It was so easy. So
it's the worst it will ever be. Let's put it that way. I have so many notes, like so many things that I took away, like, okay, this needs to be better. This needs to be better. But like, it went mostly without a hitch, which was awesome. It wasn't like me.
That's always going to happen if you're building something new, but also with any kind of event. You always walk away with, this could have been better. That could have been better. I wish I did it this way. Wish I did it that way. Everything, certain swag. Yeah. Like, why did I do that to myself?
Yeah.
All those kind of
things. It's
the
worst it'll be, but the chat loves it too.
Yeah. They're very happy.
Events was a lifesaver. Events was a great user experience.
Yeah.
Happy.
I mean that in a good way, hopefully though. Like it'll get better. Especially like Farcaster, apparently their Merkle's releasing programmable DCs like today.
Right. That would be huge.
I'm just like, wow, like this would have been
that would have been huge.
It'll help so much for the next one, right? So
that would be huge, because I would love to, if I had been able to, like, shoot out reminders that went right to somebody's DC. Of course, that's amazing. Or to a group chat. So fantastic. Yeah. Or to have people be able to opt into different options if they wanted to go to their phone, if they wanted to go to their email, if they want, be able to choose, your particular path, what works best for you for reminders. That's fantastic as well. So I think there's a lot you can build on, but also it was great. So, both things can be true at the same time. So I want to pivot back to this from Graham. just to make sure we've read it, because I put it on the screen, but we also have people who just listen. So this is from McBain. We officially release ourselves of all ownership of FarCon 2025 or beyond. It's yours now. We can't wait to see what you do with it. FarCon 2024 team. By the way, was everybody on board with this? Was this a group
Yeah,
decision?
I mean, this is basically our George Washington moment. So, picture all the
Nice.
2024 team in George Washington garb. Venice Beach was our Valley Forge, and now that the battle is won, it's time. But really, the point of this is just, this is a permissionless network, right? And nobody owns the trademark on FarCon. And so short of that, it should be up to anybody. And I think the most important thing is we're not saying like, we don't want anyone to ever talk to us about FarCon again. It's like, no, we just think that we had a great time. It was really wonderful, but the Ethereum community has done the ETH Global thing, and maybe there's room for somebody to do that in Farcaster, but we're not the ones that are going to do that. And if anybody else wants to host a FarCon or any sort of Farcaster event, message anyone on this team, maybe in like a week or two, and we'll get on all the calls you want.
Not today.
Yeah, not
Don't
today.
DM me
No.
today.
Yeah, yesterday was my birthday. I just got home on Monday. Like, leave me alone, But so for me, I think it's we got to release this. There's this, Tokyo people want to do it, and New York people want to do it, and I just think that's awesome. And I trust the community to do the right stuff with it, right? Like, Dylan started FarHack and is not yet decided what sort of level of ownership he wants to have over that. Perfectly like valid and reasonable take to have at this moment, right? He can decide if he wants to own it or not. Awesome. And so that's how I think about FarCon, is like, it's a decentralized thing. So let's just free it up. I think that's the right way to go about it.
I think that's amazing. And also, my comment to this discussion of New York versus Tokyo versus, Chicago was, why not both? Obviously,
right.
Like, it's a decentralized protocol. There's no reason it can't be a decentralized FarCon. I loved that there's Far Away Con happening in London on Friday while we were doing our thing in Venice Beach. And, all these things can happen either at the same time or at different times. There's lots of different ways to approach this. And I think the ETH Global comparison is really good. I think, why not? I don't expect that everybody on the other side of the world is going to be able to travel to North America and vice versa. So, right. I said this morning, I'm like, there's like a 0.1% chance I'll go to Tokyo. There's a 99.9% chance I'll go to New York or Chicago, but also I would expect the same thing for somebody who's in Japan, would be the reverse, and that's just life. If you have kids and family and all this stuff, it's sometimes hard to travel to the other side of the world. So you have to make your choices, but why not both? Let's just do both, people.
I think my big thing is it's either owned, the brand is either owned or it's not. And right now the brand is not owned by anybody. Nobody has a legal, I'm the only person that has any sort of entity that is the word FarCon in it, and I'm not staking any sort of claim to it. And so that's, unless somebody wants to, then it's free. And so that's how I think about it, because otherwise it's a shadow. It's like it's decentralization theater, and I'm not a fan of that. Too many DAOs pretend to vote when there's really three people that hold all the tokens. And so, like, if FarCon is not owned by anybody, then it should not be owned by anybody. And yeah, I'm happy to have that debate.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you. No debate here for me. But also, I think that whoever is stepping up, like, it has to be where the people who are willing to put the work in, this is an incredible amount of work that has to go in. It's voluntary.
Yeah.
The Merkle team is not going to pay you to do this. Like, nobody, you know what I mean? So you got to figure out how to fund it.
We may have lost money. We haven't fully figured it out yet. So, like, and if somebody wants to do it to make money, that doesn't bother me either. Great. You want to run a profitable conference? Hell yeah. Go for it. Like, that's great. So I think
there might be that, there might be some people thinking that, right? That originally were thinking, oh, there's some kind of pool of funds that I'm going to be able to walk into and be able to put deposits down. And it's like, no, you're going to be starting this from zero. Just keep this in mind. If you're thinking about this and understanding, like, you're starting this from zero, it's all going to be on you. You're going to need to have the time, the energy, and the resources to figure this out. If you do, great, go for it. It's going to, I'm sure it'll be amazing, but just making sure that, like, people aren't under some kind of weird, thought process there that there's going to be like this, big bank account waiting for them to do this event is like, kind of crazy.
If anything, I may have expenses I still need reimbursed, so they may still owe me money.
So FarCon 2025, should you be profitable, Graham would like some reimbursement.
FarCon 2025 is currently in debt about $25,000. I think that's right. FarCon, the word FarCon isn't magic, right? It doesn't guarantee you will have a successful event. If people want to throw an event around Farcaster and put the name FarCon on it, it's going to be a lot of work. And everybody who's worked on it so far will happily help as much as we can, as long as you use events.xyz. It's like a super simple decision we've all made.
Can I just say one thing though? Like, I mean, all the talk over picking cities and everything is one thing, but if Farcaster continues to grow, like, you're not going to want to host it in one city. It's going to be a stadium. Right? Yeah. It's going to be like Taylor Swift size.
Speaking of, that's where Ted is, by the way.
The fact that it's in different cities means that it can kind of start to decentralize into this constellation that becomes a little bit more manageable.
Exactly.
And, I had someone ask about, like, I forget what city it was, like Philly or New York. And it's like, okay, maybe Philly doesn't have that many people today, but like one of my friends, one of our friends, Limone, started ETH Rome, and it's like maybe a couple dozen people in a room, first one, and then maybe a few years later, it's like a couple hundred people. And so it's cool that, like, if someone wants to take it on and start it up in their city, like, it can get started and then grow and grow and grow. And so I think that's
it's important to, last year was 70 of us in a room.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, and this year it's 500 in a room. So that's okay.
And, and this year there was about 70 people in FarAwayCon in a room in Europe. Yeah,
exactly.
Or London.
Perfect.
Sorry.
In London.
And where is that in a year from now? So it's like you already start to see different kind of seedlings and
and I think I'd rather see smaller ones all over the place, because then that means more accessibility to more people than one big giant stadium full. Like that to me doesn't excite me. Like, we've already got some things like that and they're fine, but that doesn't excite me the way that a smaller type of event does. Where where we can have these it's just better for connecting. And again, I think it kind of speaks to social media versus social network. Mm-hmm. And I look at Farcaster as a social network, not as a social media where I can broadcast out to millions of people, but where I get to connect with hundreds of people, maybe thousands. But I don't need to be in that. To me, like, I wouldn't want to go to one that has 8,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, that to me wouldn't excite me. Like,
those conferences,
even if I was on a stage, by the way, even if I was on a stage doing that, like, that doesn't excite me. Being in a smaller room, in a smaller space where I actually get to connect with people is much more important to me.
I think conferences of that size are an exercise in ego, right? Yeah. It's the brands who sponsor it are doing it for ego. The people who organize it are doing it for ego. Like, small events, humans are meant to connect in small groups. And so when you put humans together in a bigger group than that, you're trying to make a lot of money or make a lot of, get a lot of attention. And that's fine. You can do that for FarCon, but I think these small events, it would just be so beautiful if there were 1,500 person events. Isn't that like so much more impactful than a big event? And if someone wants to do a big event, also, again, great. But this vision of lots of tiny ones, I think is so beautiful. Just want to push it
within it, right? A lot, like, I think one of the beautiful things about this year was that it wasn't just one summit, right? It was a ton. I think there were like 40 events when I checked the calendar. Like, there were so many things going on. Like, of course you can't go to them all, but it's like a mix of large things and small things and like tiny dinners and like little conversations. And so
cozy corners. I mean, my favorite parts of FarCon, and let's actually have this quick round roundtable before we wrap. My favorite parts were those small cozy corners. It was the Build Her brunch, by the way. FarCon the beta, 4 women in the room. This one, a lot more women in the room, a lot more women on stages. And thank you, Christopher, for posting something about that, who were not only, there, but leading. And that was amazing for me to see and to be a part of. But that little cozy corner, tabletop, like I Speak Nerd, getting people in a room to play board game was fun. Like that was the kind of thing that was just fun, and people getting to connect over playing a game. Pickleball, I heard was amazing. I couldn't be there because I had something else at the same time, but I heard that was amazing and showed some true colors. If you want to speak to that real quick, Adrian.
Were any of you guys at pickleball? Matthew, you stopped by.
I was an audience member. I didn't actually.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was awesome. I was so happy to see, like, it was kind of like this different element, like not like we've never all like had this big sporting event together. I saw you were fired up. I saw Jack. I saw David Furlong was just like bursting his eyeballs, like it's so like menacing.
Yes.
Like, oh my god, like don't mess
The
with
intensity.
Menacing.
Oh my god,
It was
there was so much
amazing.
intensity at pickleball.
And you see, like, I mean, everyone's kind of a builder, founder type, like everyone's super, just like in it, and I loved it. It was awesome.
And then there was also a run. There was an event at the skate park. I mean, there was all these like smaller moments.
And look, these side
people you had things
the run.
Yeah.
The side events were so perfect because they were activities that you're doing with other Farcaster people, so you're able to kind of connect and bond. But they're also using Farcaster apps. So Ponder and Bracket, receipts for the run. So it's like, it still has that connection to Farcaster apps, which is so cool.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
I have to run, everybody. I've got join me for welcome to Farcaster in 10 minutes. But it's good to see you all. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, McBain.
Graham,
and
thank
we'll wrap
you.
Thanks
to-
for having me. Everyone else can say.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for everything you've done for FarCon. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. And say hi to Harry. Really quick, Dylan and Matthew, your favorite parts, your favorite moments, your favorite things that you got to do.
Other than the hackathon, I think the welcome mixer and the first part of the summit were great. Welcome mixer, I didn't know anything about that venue, so that was just like a whole surprise to me. Seeing that was like, even though it was like a smaller, intimate place, it was a really sick place. So seeing everyone come there together, get their badges, etc. Like that, the icebreaker line when we first got in there, like they were trying to figure out how do you wrap this line? I thought that was pretty funny. But then seeing everyone that first day when we got in, because I had seen setting up at Windward the day before, but then when you actually see it jam packed with people and you hear Graham going 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me, and like it's all starting, you got this moment. It's like, wow, like we're really here. This is really happening. People are really sitting there silent, listening to Dan and Varun talk with Les's jackets on. So that was kind of a moment where it was like all starting to set in for me.
Like, we have to mention the sparkly sequin, purple sequin jackets. Those were amazing.
I need one.
Amazing. Totally amazing. Matthew, how about for you? What were your highlights?
I think, this is a couple of things, but I think for me it was Sunday morning or afternoon ish. So it started with the FarHack presentations, and I thought that was just I was just in awe. I took a picture and sent it to my girlfriend. I couldn't believe that there were so many people. I could believe it, right? But I was in shock that there were so many people in this tiny community that were building, and that actually shipped something, and it was amazing. So again, props to Dylan. That was that was awesome. And then right after the presentations, Caro at Serendipity messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to go get barbecue with a group of us?" And it turns out there was this group that found this barbecue pop-up happening. And so we all went and got the most amazing barbecue ever. It was 6 of us. And I just, to end on that after the hackathon, I was like, this is amazing. I'm done. So Sunday was my favorite day.
Those cozy moments. Adrian, any other last notes or thoughts and things that you loved and enjoyed?
I think I can call out like different moments. And I liked kind of the balance between like everyone watching the keynotes and just seeing the magnitude and scale of what FarCon was, especially compared to last year. And then balance with the little tiny cozy corners and did finding kind of small. But going back to something McBain said in the beginning about just the vibe, it's like you're feeling like you're with friends or something. You know, I go to conferences. I've been to conferences and they tend to be exhausting because you're meeting new people for the first time and you're starting at zero and it's a lot of small talk and you kind of forget everybody. This one it's like the reverse. So it's not meeting in real life to take relationships later. It's people we already knew maybe and never met. So you're starting, it felt intimate and cozy even in some of the larger spaces.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like it's you're meeting your friends and sometimes your friends' parents. Like which is kind of cool.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you're meeting your friends, even though you maybe the first time you see them in person.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of Dylan, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time we met, you told me your parents are crypto skeptics, and I have it on my my bucket list to have a conversation with them someday. Have they changed their minds at all?
I'll be in New York this summer, and my dad's on Farcaster now. So
yes.
Wow.
All right. Let's meet for a drink with them. I'm gonna help you.
She's gonna take care of it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
She'll take care of it. She'll get them fully on board. She'll have them with a with
Prof,
some,
what's your number one kind of highlight?
I mean, it definitely are the episode 100 just for so many reasons, but just like the support of the community is the biggest reason. Like having people in that room supporting what we've been building since I'm getting choked up. Since September was pretty amazing. And to have Dan and Barun there for their very first podcast together, have it be there at FarCon in front of this group of people, that obviously was my highlight. But also just those moments of connecting with people and getting to know them just a little bit better and just knowing that this is a true community of builders is pretty incredible. Like I loved the hackathon. Being in the space for like the hackathon brunch was amazing. Seeing what they built and seeing the announcements and the awards going out was amazing. Every moment, like I loved every moment of it and can't wait for the next one, wherever it is. So, and with that, we're going to wrap, and we will be back for our regular GM Farcaster on Monday, except I won't, probably. So Adrian's is shopping for a co-host. So there you go. She's going to be co-hosting. She'll be hosting on her own with a co-host
TBD.
Later, TBD. So we'll see how this goes. This is going to be fun. And thank you, Matthew, Dylan, McBain, and Erica for popping in to do this little recap and for all the work that you guys put in, and Ted, who couldn't be here, but I really appreciate everything, all the work she did. And I loved, I do want to end with this shout out from her to all of you that she posted, because I thought this was lovely. And the pictures here, these people helped make FarCon happen through blood, sweat, and tears. Shout out to Ryan McMillhill, one of the geniuses of Slow Rodeo and the visionary behind Saturday Night's Airplane Mode. He's considered creative, brilliant, funny as hell. FarCon would have been as good as it was without him. Immense gratitude, but also pictures of all of you. I love this photo of the 5 of you there. I thought that was amazing. So I just wanted to share that as we wrap. So thank you to everybody. And also thanks to Dan and Barun for, building this permissionless craziness that we call Farcaster that lets us do all these amazing things and build all these amazing things. So with that, everybody, as you know how we end this, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.